Welcome to Aging Insight with your host, John Ross and Lisa Schollmeyer. This program is made possible by
Well, welcome back everyone to Aging Insight. I'm Lisa Schollmeyer. I'm here with John Ross, and the program Aging Insight is all about providing you with information so as you retire and as you age that you have a resource here to deal with subjects such as financial issues, estate planning issues, housing issues, even health issues. We want to provide that information to you because as a senior, life is complicated, so you need as much information as you can get. One thing that most seniors are concerned about are how are they going to age? What are they going to do if they have a health crisis that makes living in their home a little more difficult? You know, what are the support services? What are the options that a senior in our area may have in order to just enhance their quality of life and to age in the way and the manner that they want to?
Yeah, we always talk about that the three biggest concerns for people out there is they want to protect their assets, they want to avoid becoming a burden on others, and they want to stay out of a nursing home.
That's right. That's typical.
But you know, so often when we're talking to these people and they will say, well, I don't want to go to a nursing home. And the next logical question though is, okay, so what are you going to do then when you need that extra help? And you know, so often I think most of these people have never gotten past that first part.
Right, there's just nope, not doing that.
just not doing it without the alternative of I'm not going to do it because I'm going to do this. And so we kind of thought maybe today we would talk about, you know, what are some of the other things that are out there to help you age where you want to age, regardless of what your health conditions and may be. And I would say, you know, of course, the first and biggest for most people, they want to stay at home, if
Right.
at all possible.
They want to stay at home. And John, on previous editions of Aging Insight, we've talked about, you know, if you want to stay at home, you know, make your home friendly to you as a senior. And so we have talked about that.
I visited with a guy just today, as a matter of fact, and unfortunately, this gentleman, he and his wife, his wife's, they're both in their very early 60s. They're not even eligible for Social Security at this point. Unfortunately, his wife's had a stroke, and a couple of them, as a matter of fact, and she is going to be wheelchair bound. And just 30 days or so before she had her stroke, they bought themselves a brand new home. Now he was you know, they didn't have much savings because, you know, these are not wealthy folks, and they were kind of work a day, but they were also kind of your paycheck to paycheck folks. But he had gotten a new job, and that job paid more. He was telling me this job pays more than anything he's ever made in his whole life, and he's pretty proud of that. And he's also a former military person, and so by going through the VA, they were able to buy their first home. It's a very modest home, and they bought this house, and 30 days later the wife has had a stroke. She's been in the hospital. She's now in rehab. He's looking to bring her home, but she is wheelchair bound. And you know, Lisa, this guy's, he's a kind of a hands-on kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And you know, he whipped out that tape measure, and he measured, and that wheelchair was 28 inches wide. And so he went home to his brand new house and he measured the front door, 36 inches. Measured the back door, 36 inches. Measured the bedroom doors, 34 inches.
What about that bathroom door?
26.
26 inches.
2 inches short to get that wheelchair in there.
Yeah.
And you know, he's got a brand new house, and because of the VA loan, he was able to to get a loan for almost the entire value of the home without really much in the way of a down payment. And but now he needs to remodel.
Right.
And there's no funds. So, that was kind of what you were talking about is, they really probably should have thought about this when they were buying.
Right. And so, when seniors talk about they want to stay at home, it make your home friendly to staying at home. But, a lot of times it's just not the physical challenges of your home, cabinets, doorways, things like that. It can just be your functionality challenges that as you get older and you encounter a health crisis, it may diminish your functionality to be at home.
Yeah. But you've got to, if you if you want to stay at home, that home has got to match with those potential needs. Now, this situation that I gave the example for is an unusual example.
Sure.
Much more common is somebody who does have their home paid off, or what mortgage they have is very limited. And I had another veteran this same week, and we closed on a VA loan to remodel his house. But he doesn't have good credit, and Social Security for him and his wife, that's about it. So not a lot of income, not a lot of savings. But he didn't realize that through some of the VA programs, there are some home remodel loans that were available. He was wounded during the Korean War. His wife has Alzheimer's. They have a disabled child at home. Well, we're going to be able to remodel that house so that the three of them can stay there together.
Well, and that's just not a lot of folks don't think about if they've had military service in their background, that there would be something like that available through the VA to help them make the adjustments to their home. So I know we have a lot of viewers out there who do have military service in their background. So, make sure we're looking at VA benefits or VA programs to help you stay at home and get those remodels and all that you need.
Yeah, and there may be other sources of that sort of thing from various charitable entities, from your Habitats for Humanity.
Yeah, well, the Area Agency on Aging, which is a federal program directed at our senior adults. We have both the Arkansas and Texas chapters here in our community. They have programs for ramp building.
Right.
And wheelchair accessibility modifications to homes, and that is free of charge to the seniors. So
well, and I was at a meeting for the Alzheimer's Alliance the other day, and one of the members is also a member of a local Kiwanis or Rotary Club, that sort of thing. And they were asking, they said, we need to do some charity work.
Right.
Do y'all have some charity work we can do?
Yeah.
So there are those opportunities, and it's one of those things where you may not necessarily want to ask for that kind of help. I know there's a lot of hesitancy, but again, what you've got to decide is if you want to stay at home, you're going to have to make these sort of things happen, and if it's a crisis, yeah. So first thing is, if you're going to stay at home, you're going to have to make sure the home is livable. But that may not be the end of it, because even if this gentleman gets his doors widened for the bathrooms, he still has a job.
That's right, caring for his wife.
That's right, and there's going to be caregivers, and they're going to cost money.
Yeah.
And that's going to be another issue. So we're going to keep talking about some essentially the how do you stay out of the nursing home when we come back.
At Advantage Senior Care, our goal is for seniors to stay home longer, stay healthy, and above all, stay happy. Introducing the Independence Check. A trained caregiver will visit your loved one in the comfort of their home, providing assistance with medicines, meal prep, caring companionship, and more.
Miss Smith, I just stopped by your dad's. He's taking his medicine and doing great.
See how an Independence Check can make all the difference in your loved one's day. Call Advantage Senior Care today.
The Wadley Senior Clinic has been such a blessing for our family. Because they specialize in geriatric care, they take the time to really focus on Dad's needs. Their exam rooms are specially designed for seniors, and they offer lab and x-ray on site. With monthly educational programs on health and wellness of the mind and body, our healthcare questions get answered. Best of all, they accept Dad's Medicare benefits. See what the Wadley Senior Clinic can do for you. Wadley Senior Clinic, where healthy relationships begin.
Welcome back to Aging Insight. I'm John Ross here with Lisa Scholmeyer, and so often as elder law attorneys, people tell us that they don't want to go to the nursing home. But then if you ask them how you're going to do that,
They don't have a good answer.
They know what they don't want to do, but they don't know how to accomplish that goal. And so we were talking about kind of some alternatives. How do you stay out? And we started out by talking about the home. Most people, not all, but most people we talk to would prefer to age in their home. And yet many homes are not, they're just not structurally, architecturally set up for a wheelchair, a walker, things like that.
Right, stairs, door frames, just the things you don't even pay attention to until it keeps you from getting around your home.
Right, so you've got to fix those. But even if you fix those, if you're talking about being in a situation where you need the kind of care that would be provided at a nursing home, and yet you want to stay at home, that typically means you're going to need some care providers.
Right, so a lot of families, they come together in a time to support that senior family member. And so, we deal a lot with families who are just really making big efforts. One child comes and spends every other weekend with mom. Another child comes by every day after work and spends a few hours. And so the family is providing a lot of that hands-on care, but often family themselves have their own jobs. They have their own families and children that they're caring for. And so many times it is necessary for that senior to stay at home, for there to be a caregiver, a paid caregiver that comes in for some amount of time during the day or during the week to help make sure that senior family member is safe in their home and that they're getting the basic care that they need while their other family members are unable to provide it. So family members often are free caregivers, but if you want to make sure you're aging in place at home, you do need to consider the fact that you will need to spend funds, perhaps, on a paid caregiver to fill in those gaps. And John, when we talk about hiring a caregiver, I mean, there's all kinds of things to think about, references and background checks and things like that. But even the paying the caregiver, a lot of folks, they may want to be paid cash. They may want to not have that compensation reported to, the IRS or whatnot. And so, it's a little more complex than just finding the right person and getting them in the door.
It really is. If you're hiring a professional in-home care provider service, they're going to handle all the tax reporting and the insuring and all of that sort of thing that goes along with that. But of course, they're going to pass those costs along to the consumer, which means those services are typically going to cost a lot more than the lady down the street.
Right.
The lady down the street, though, oftentimes wants to be paid in cash because she doesn't want to report it on her income or whatever else. And so you can run into issues there. Like so many things, there are rules. There are IRS rules. If you're hiring somebody to provide care in your home, that's a household employee. And the IRS says that you, as the person hiring them, are responsible for withholding taxes, paying those withheld taxes over to the IRS. That's a particular form that you have to file along with some other things.
reporting that income at the end of the year to the IRS. So the IRS is expecting that caregiver / taxpayer to also report that income and pay the proper tax that they may owe.
That's right. And you can be found liable for for the taxes, even the taxes that employee didn't pay. If you're just paying them cash and they get busted for tax evasion, the next place the IRS is going to come looking is you, and they're going to hit you for the tax they should have been paying because it was your job to withhold it in the first place and you didn't do it. So you're going to have some tax issues here. This may be the very nice lady down the street that's been working there that's known you for 30 years. But if she is trying to help you in your home and has an accident and breaks a hip or a back or something like that, there's going to be medical issues.
Right.
There's the possibility of a lawsuit. There's a number of issues related to that sort of thing.
Right. So, so if you hire someone to come into your home, you do need to get some proper advice about what all is involved in hiring that person. And certainly speaking to your tax preparer or a CPA or an attorney who deals with those kind of things can give you some good advice. A lot of people get real concerned that, well, this sounds complicated and it sounds like this is going to cost a lot. Well, first of all, the cost of non-compliance, like John was mentioning before, can be quite high if the IRS comes after you for taxes or you get sued by that caregiver for an accident that happened in your home. But the actual cost of preparing a real paycheck and withholding and making sure the proper reports are filed, that cost is really fairly manageable. It's very small. If you have one employee, I know of a tax preparer, CPA that does that type of work for it's really $25 a month, something like that. There are services that you can access online, such as carepay.com, which is specifically designed to help people manage a household employee. Could be a babysitter or a nanny for children, or it could be an in-home caregiver for a senior adult. But there are services out there that a smart family member can access and use to help keep you in compliance so you can stay at home.
But either way, you're still paying somebody.
That's true.
And as the gentleman I mentioned earlier, whose wife has just had a stroke, as he has learned, he has the 2 or 3 friendly neighbor ladies down the street that are more than happy to come and help out. But once he started adding up the cost of all of this, he realized that's half, 3/4 of his paycheck every month. Mm-hmm. And he's got a brand new mortgage to pay. There's no way he can afford that cost. So now he's looking at, okay, so how am I going to pay for it? And that's the other thing. You can get the house straight. You can figure out how you're going to provide that care and who's going to provide it and how you're going to cover the taxes, but can you afford it? And that's a whole different category, and that's where you get into some of the government programs. And we're going to talk about that in our last segment. So stick around. We'll be right back.
As things get older, they require more care. This car and I have seen a lot of miles together, but because I take care of her, she runs just like she did in 1955. That's why I chose the Wadley Senior Clinic, with an individualized care plan designed just for me and a convenient location off Jefferson Avenue. They have everything to keep me running like new. It's not about the miles, it's about the journey. Let the Wadley Senior Clinic keep you happy, healthy, and cruising down the road of life.
At Advantage Senior Care, our goal is for seniors to stay home longer, stay healthy, and above all, stay happy. Our individualized plans are tailored to your loved one's needs, from meal preparation, shopping, and light housekeeping, to bathing and dressing, mobility assistance, and companionship. Our trained caregivers will help maintain your loved one's independence while providing you with peace of mind. See how our family can help yours. trust our locally owned and family operated senior care service. Call Advantage Senior Care today.
Welcome back to Aging Insight. I'm Lisa Scholmeyer and I'm here with John Ross. And today we're talking about staying in your home and avoiding, or at least avoiding, nursing home care. And we've talked about getting your house ready for you to age in place. We've talked about, being of a mindset that you may in fact need to hire some in-home caregivers to help you remain in that home. And John, can a person afford that type of care?
Most people can't.
Yeah, that's true. Most people can't, but there's some help out there.
There are options. For example, for our veterans or surviving spouses of veterans, there's something called the aid and attendance benefit, which can provide some extra money directly deposited, just like a pension,
like a monthly pension,
like a monthly pension. But this is to help cover the cost of those in-home care providers. Now it's limited for a widow or widower of a veteran. It's limited to about $1,100 a month. For a veteran, single veteran, around $1,700 a month, and about $2,200 for a veteran with a spouse. So that can help with a small amount. I've talked to some folks, and they spend $400 or $500 a week, and so an extra $1,500, $2,000 would go a long way to cover that. I've also talked to people that spend $1,500 a week,
right?
And at $6,000 a month, that extra couple of thousand not going to get you there. And that's where you start looking at your in-home care Medicaid programs. Oftentimes when we talk about Medicaid, people just think nursing homes.
They automatically think nursing home, but our Medicaid programs do have portions of their program that will provide in-home care attendance for people who need it if you meet certain guidelines. And so it's always worth exploring if those programs are available. Now, most of the Medicaid in-home care programs provide about a maximum of 35 hours a week of in-home care. But a lot of times that allows a family to put together other care. The family members can work, and that Medicaid provider is there while they're working, but yet on the weekends and evenings and nights, the family can fill in the gaps. And so, that's one way to stay at home.
That's right. And you've also got to realize that many people assume that you have to be completely destitute prior to qualifying for Medicaid. And in many cases, that's just not the case. In a married couple where one of the spouses needs it and the other one doesn't, it's not uncommon for the spouse who does not need the care to be able to keep tens or even in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars in resources, assets, and yet the spouse is still getting that care in the home. And so, for example, you might not be able to afford 24-hour-a-day care directly out of pocket, but if you can have the state paying for the 30 to 50 hours a week, then maybe you can make up the difference then out of pocket, and maybe now that's become more affordable.
So, John, one of the other ways to extend those resources so that you can maintain in your home is to utilize day programs.
That's right.
Where maybe during the day, your loved one who needs the care and supervision goes off-site, goes away from their home, to a senior daycare provider, senior daycare center, or for memory care, we have the Alzheimer's Alliance has a couple days a week that they have respite care that that the dementia patient comes to the Alzheimer's Alliance and spends a couple of days each week.
A couple of days each week listening to Elvis sing songs and having a good time and having a ball. And Opportunities Inc. also offers a senior day center where they, and they're open
5 days a week.
5 days a week.
Yeah.
And Opportunities can take a broader range of care needs.
Right. And so the Opportunities Program here in our local area, it's available for Medicaid funding. So it might be perhaps that Medicaid could even pay that daily cost so that you can work and your loved one can get the attention they need. And they have a nurse and professional nursing staff there on site during the day to make sure that your loved one gets the medications they need and the proper medical supervision during the day. But doing like a day program, John, will extend the resources that you have.
That's
because
right.
if you're not paying for an in-home caregiver to come in the home, but your loved one is going out of the home during the day, but coming back, and that extends how long they're going to be able to stay at home.
Well, and it also extends the caregiver burnout. So often, we'll see people and they say, well, I don't want to go to a nursing home. You say, well, how are you going to do that? She's going to take care of me.
The spouse is going to take care of you.
And don't do that to them. They may be perfectly willing to try to help keep you at home, but if they're doing it constantly like that, the caregiver burnout, it's not uncommon for the caregivers to begin to have their own physical ailments and not be able to take care of you. So by taking those breaks, by using the day centers, by accessing, for example, there's something called a respite stay within the hospice program where you're not going to a nursing home, you're just going to spend a few days there while your spouse or kids take a break from caregiving. And again, this is ways to extend the time you're in the home by giving those caregivers a break. And so it's not just about you out there.
No, but
sometimes we got to think about those caregivers as well.
But if it's your goal to stay out of a nursing home, then we hope this program today made you think about what kind of things you need to be willing to do as far as remodeling, as far as paying for in-home caregivers, so that you can stay out of that nursing home.
That's right. And if you have other questions, you can call us every Saturday when we're live on the radio on 98.7 at noon. You can also pick up a copy of our Aging Insight magazine, your local doctor's office, hospital waiting room, financial advisor, or you can swing by the offices of Ross and Schollmeyer and pick one up from us. Till next time, we'll see you then.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for this week's Aging Insight program with John Ross and Lisa Schollmeyer. This program is made possible by